Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How's it going? Halfway through another week. My goodness. Time flies when you're having fun, huh? Before we get into anything, I really don't mean to cause any kind of a panic here, but Bill McNamara, do not move. There is an enormous animal right behind your head. I think if you stay very, very still, it might just wander away. But be very cautious.
I appreciate the warning, and I'm sure it's quite vicious.
It looks it, because all we see is the two little beady eyes peering above your hair, which is a little disconcerting. But hey.
Paul was helping me with the whole Zoom thing. I have to rethink this, but right now I'm in Texas, so I can't really change it.
Well, there you go. If you just actually set up another inch, it would look like you had this big poof of like Farrah Fawcett blonde hair. There you go.
Oh,
see?
there
Brilliant.
You go. Very nice.
All right,
Thank
everybody.
you.
So some calendar items for you this morning, along with our announcements before we dive in for our day. Today at 1 o'clock, Profit Share Team meets. For those of you who have been attending the Profit Share Team, make sure that you show up today at 12 noon. For those of you who have not, I know that Dan and Steve have a really cool system or strategy to discuss with you today. For those of you who are already earning profit share, a strategy to grow that profit share, kind of a similar strategy that we use to grow our list side of our business or grow the market centers, the same kind of strategy being applied to profit share. So you don't want to miss that today. It's a simple half hour. Jump in at 12 noon, whether you've been to one or many, jump in at 12 noon today to hear that strategy, because it will definitely pay you dividends if you implement it. Tomorrow, don't forget New York with the pros. We have all of our New York pros lined up to help you understand the differences in the state of New York in terms of how business is processed, the rules and the regs and all the fun stuff. So that's 1 o'clock tomorrow in this Zoom room. Do make sure that you plug into that. And tomorrow, of course, at 5:30, career night for any friends or family that you may have who are looking to either make a change or get into real estate. Dan and Steve will walk them through all the steps to get that done. Next week, Tuesday, Ignite begins one more time. So if you've never taken that course or you'd like to dive in again, we'd love to have you again. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 4 to 6, starting next Tuesday and then through the end of October.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
I'd like to mention with Ignite that yes, guests are invited to Ignite. Do not hesitate to invite outside agents to join on Ignite. Just wanted.
Yeah. The only thing we're going to ask you to do, however, if you do that, is just let us know you've done that, right? So that we know who's on. When we have guests on, I like to know that there are guests on and who they are, so I can kind of maneuver and handle our guests with the care that they need. So lastly, ESO, expansion systems orientation. You guys have seen the emails I've sent out on that. That is today. It's being offered completely free. Chris Suarez and Jason Abrams, two people who, even if you have no idea what expansion is or no indication that you'll ever look to expand or be a part of an expansion operation, to sit and listen to Jason and Chris talk business for the day is worth my $0. So that's from 10 until something in the afternoon today. It is free. Go to kweso.com. I think you can still register, even if you only have an hour to spare throughout the course of the day and you want to jump in and listen to what they're talking about. It would be worth your while. So that's kweso.com. Somebody put that in the chat if you would, so that people can grab that link and head out to that. All right. So before we move into a listings update, I think I see my good friend John on the call this morning. Good morning, John. How are you today?
Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing?
Awesome.
Good. Well, I'm going to go over just one quick thing. I'm going to put this in the chat right now. My topic today is time of the essence. I just did a quick scenario looking at today's marketplace, and I just took some very, very generic numbers. But if we look at today's average purchase price and, the Ridgefield, average price, Fairfield County, so forth, we take a price of about $500,000 and the client wants to put 20% down. At today's interest rate, he or she or both would be mortgaging about $420. at 2.25%. So that principal and interest payment would be 1714. Now, if we fast forward to 2022, a year from today, and I just use a conservative 8% appreciation because we are in a very hyperinflation market, but we just don't know when it's going to flatten out. But at 8% appreciation from a year from now, which has been going up more like 10, 12, 13%, that same house will be worth about 540. An 80% loan on that is $432,000. And let's just take the assumption that we get into an increasing interest rate market, which we don't know what's going to happen. The Fed meets tomorrow, and there's some whatever the rhetoric is going to really sway the market. However, it just had a menial 4%, which years ago was a great rate. Now it's high, obviously. That principal and interest payment jumps up to $2,062, and that's basically a payment increase of $348. And the reason I bring that up from a lending standpoint is because as we're qualifying people, when we're in a hyperinflation market, a lot of clients are really getting to the edge of the debt to income ratios that are allowed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA and VA. So that being said, $348 is a huge increase on their debt to income, and quite frankly, could really bump them out of a house that they wanted today to try to wait the market out to see if it flattens out, see if it crashes, what have you. But people don't take in consideration, what happens when interest rates spike up. And this happened time and time again. Again, this is my fourth hyperinflation market with, interest rates that go to a bottom low. And then all of a sudden, within a month, they literally crank up, a half a point, 3/4 of a point. And it takes a long time for interest rate to trickle down. They spike up because it's a knee-jerk reaction. And again, it takes a long time to trickle down to if they do come down. I've seen them where they leveled out and actually gone up for quite a bit of time. And I've been doing this since 1996. And when I booked my first loan back then, it was 9.25. So, rates do have that ability to go up and down. Again, this is just a hypothesis, but it's a good illustration to show your clients that, if they're on the edge to buy the house or not, you could use this as a quick little simile saying, hey, if under this scenario, if you wait a year, you'll be paying about $450 more for this house per month. And if you extrapolate that over the life of the loan, it's quite large. But the biggest point is that essentially that they may not be able to qualify it in a year from now at the same thing. Salaries and wages are actually very, very flat. Companies are not giving raises anymore right now because of the COVID epidemic. And so things are in a very, very big holding pattern. Then you throw inflation on top of that, that will really squeeze the buyer's market, and I'm just saying that, not saying putting pressure on say, get everybody in the house today, but use this as saying, hey, this will cost you a couple $100 more, if not, $400 or $500 more a year from now, if the market continues the way it's going. Anyway, I just want to put this out there as just as a sales tool. If you guys have any questions, please call me. My cell number is in the chat along with my email. But I think it's a good way to kind of show people, especially first-time home buyers and people that may be on the fence, this is what could happen. And again, I'm not Houdini. I can't predict the future. But once again, I've been doing this for 28 years, and I've seen it happen time and time again. People get comfortable, and all of a sudden, from that 2.75 interest rate, it jumps up to 3.5%, 4% within a couple months. And then there's an incredible slowdown and an incredible, kind of panic on there. So anyway, please use this as a thing. Again, please don't hold it for gospel. It's just an example. But please call me any questions. My name and numbers in the chat, and I hope to help you guys out. Have a great week.
Thank you so much, John. We appreciate that. And what's interesting is that when you use history as a guide, you don't have to be Houdini, right? You just have to be able to look backwards and say, this is what's occurred before, right? And so I love the point that John makes, and I'll say it flat out. Get as many people into a house right now as possible, right? That is what I'm saying, right? Go ahead and just get them in a house right now, because interest rates are not going to get lower. Pricing isn't suddenly going to fall through the bottom. Like, that's not going to happen. So unless they want to wait 5 years to figure out what 5 years from now looks like, let's just get people saying yes today, because it's their opportunity, right? It really is their opportunity, which is different than it being your opportunity. It's truly their opportunity based on what we just talked about. All right, so thank you, John. Appreciate that. Two quick things for you this morning. The first is our listings update, and my apologies, we missed that last week because we were talking about our good friend Dave Jenks, and so we didn't give you a listings update last week. As you know, we're in our third or fourth targeted targeted contest to get us to the end of a 2-month period of time with a certain number of listings. 3 times earlier, we have actually exceeded those numbers. And so this time between September 1st and Halloween, we are at 308 is our target number, which means today, 21 days in, we should be at 106 new listings taken, 106 new listings taken. And where you are today is 70. So that's an interesting change, right? For the first time since we've been having these conversations, we're a little bit behind in terms of our listing inventory, right? There's a bunch of you saying, yeah, I know it's me. Well, come on, get out there. If you know it's you, let's get out there and get some more. So here's what that means, right? It doesn't mean, oh, boo-hoo. It doesn't mean, oh, woe is us. Doesn't mean, oh, let's just give up. What it means is we just double down, right? It means that instead of 35 a week as an organization, we simply need to now take 43 a week to hit or exceed our target number, right? So we just make those small adjustments. It's just an extra 8 listings a week. There's 83 of you on this call, right? Who's up for an extra 1, right? Somebody, if we have 8 people sign up for an extra 1 over the course of the next week, well, Mary's carrying the whole burden now. So Mary, all 8 are on you. All right, Jeannie's gonna split it with you. So it's 4 and 4, right? But that's all it takes. So let's double down and make sure that we are still focused on listings, because remember, winter is coming. And the way you get through the winter in real estate is to build a listing inventory. That's just how it works, because a listing inventory brings you additional buyer opportunities and additional listing opportunities, all of which will start to marinate over the fall to get you into the closing period of the first quarter and make sure that your winter is not short on dollars. Deal? Okay, good. So let's jump right into some closing scripts today. It is Wednesday, so it's actually our first Wednesday of scripts. And I wanted to throw these out to you today because it's a simple concept that I think will change your business. And it's called, let me bring this up on the screen for you. It's called PMGS. What is that you're saying? PMGS, what is he saying? Well, PMGS is a simple way to remember some simple closing scripts that I will tell you, if you'll just commit these to memory and then be brave enough to use them, they will change your appointments. Change your appointments. And there are some people on this call who, if they so choose to, can unmute to say, you know what, he's not lying, because PMGS is a simple process by which we move from having a conversation to a close and a signature on a listing or a buyer contract, right? And here's what PMGS stands for. PMGS is a simple way to remember these 4 scripts. Are you ready to put me to work? There's the P. Are you ready to move forward? There's the M. Are you ready to get started? There's your G. Are you ready to sign the contract? There's your S, PMGS. They all start with the same 4 words. Are you ready to? And then you just have to memorize the P, the M, the G, and the S. Put me to work, move forward, get started, sign the contract. Now, you don't necessarily use all of these in a single appointment, though you might if you have to close more than once. And yet, memorizing these 4 simple, short little closing scripts allows you, in the moment that we all face, right? Every single real estate agent faces the moment of either choosing to close or choosing to start yapping about something else, right? And the moment that shows up in every consultation, buyer or seller, is defined by one thing. Who knows what that one thing is? It's always the same. It's silence. I'll give you the answer. Silence. When you run out of things to say and the buyer or the seller doesn't have anything else to say, there's this moment, and sometimes it's a fleeting moment, where nobody really has anything else to say. And what's fascinating is that oftentimes as agents, we get stuck there and think that means that we have to find something else to talk about. And what I'm here to tell you today with PMGS is that it's actually much simpler than that. When you get to that moment of silence, you just have to be ready with one of these 4 closing scripts. So are you ready to put me to work? Because the seller has nothing left to say. They showed you that. And so 9.5 times out of 10, their answer is yes. And then you just simply move forward. Does that sound like a plan? Does that sound like something you can do? Does that sound relatively simple? Because it is, right? Anybody use PMGS or a version of PMGS? We teach this in Ignite as well. Jeannie, go ahead.
So I have in my office, I actually have the Mastering the Listing script, and it's PMGS, and I look at it every single day, and the yellow highlights are the PMGS.
There you
So
go.
I use it all the time.
There you go. Truth be told, this PMGS was actually developed with Jeannie Kassendorf, right? Because it was, and I've told you stories before, right? About Jeannie and her closes in her purse. The reality of using those closes is it shortens your consultations and it brings you closer to a yes every single time. Every single time. So if you want to increase your conversion numbers on the buy side or the sell side in terms of how many people actually hire you, this is where you start. Memorize those 4 simple closing scripts. PMGS, are you ready to put me to work, move forward, get started, sign the contract, and then just start using them. You do have to practice them. Just start using them, because just bringing that into your consults will create a level of yeses for you that you may be shocked at. Guys, I hope this has been helpful to you today. Remember PMGS. I'll test you on Monday to make sure that you're studying your PMGS. Have an awesome day today. Steve and Dan will see you at 12 noon for Profit Share Team. Take care. Bye-bye.